As the Russian invasion continues, heartbreak amongst many. Anti-war protesters in Russia are taken into custody. Every Everyday civilians are losing everything they've ever had. All because an egotistical madman is desperate for more power and does not believe neighboring Ukraine should exist.
But 21 civilians lost their lives here. They occupy the city of Kherson and surrounding Mariupol. Ukrainian forces remain in control of the port city of Mykolaiv, but it is coming under very heavy bombardment.
The war is the same as spring. Severe. But it will be all right. We will win anyway. Military analysts say the Russian onslaught will likely get worse in the coming days. Russian forces are increasingly turning to shelling civilian areas.
The invasion is crushing the infrastructure of Ukraine. But the ban plays on. However, in sports,
it's the first image Americans are seeing of WNBA star Brittney Griner since her arrest in Russia.
Brittney Griner is still being held in Russia. Some are calling her a POW.
The police mugshot appearing in a segment that aired on Russia's main state-owned news channel, including more CCTV footage showing Griner at Moscow's Sheremetyevo airport after arriving on a flight from New York sometime in February. It depicts a service dog alerting Russian customs officials, triggering a search of Griner's luggage. Officials are then shown examining what appears to be a plastic bag containing electronic vape cigarettes.
An expert determined that the liquid is a narcotic drug, cannabis oil. A criminal case has been opened against an American citizen for smuggling a significant amount of drugs.
I don't think they really know what significant means, but then again, it appears it may all be intentional.
The Russian segment also mockingly referenced Griner's sexual orientation in a country known for harsh anti-LGBTQ laws.
Let's pause here. If unaware, The Independent displayed what it's like to be gay in Russia. Human Rights Watch noted LGBTQ people there have long faced threats, bullying, abuse inside their families, and discrimination. But the 2013 gay propaganda law has increased that social hostility. Russia's gay propaganda law is a classic example of political homophobia.
Florida's so-called Don't Say Gay bill is one step closer to becoming law today.
He gave his clearest indication yet that he supports this bill.
Weird, isn't it? And then Ron DeSantis comes in and says, political homophobia, I'm in. When Russian President Vladimir Putin signed the federal law in June 2013, he pandered to a conservative domestic support base, and on the international stage, the law helped position Russia as a champion of so-called traditional values. The legislation, formally titled the law, aimed at protecting children from information promoting the denial of traditional family values. Yuck. It bans the promotion of non-traditional sexual relations to minors, a reference universally understood to mean a ban on providing children access to information about LGBTQ people's lives. The ban includes, but is not limited to, information provided via the press. As one Russian health provider explained to Human Rights Watch, the whole situation is just worsening. As of today, teachers and teacher psychologists are not allowed to speak positively on LGBTQ topics. They can't just say to a kid, hey, everything is normal with you. Nearly all the youth Human Rights Watch spoke with described intense feelings of isolation, which they attributed to persistent anti-LGBTQ rhetoric and hostile social attitudes. Their sense of isolation was exacerbated, they said, by the gay propaganda law. In St. Petersburg, Russia, Dmitry Shishevsky would attend events with other proud gay people. They would drink tea, play games, have a drink, etc. Politico reported of the events of that one fateful night in one establishment. His quote, I saw two guys next to the door wearing masks. After that, I heard shots. The first one hit my eye. They yelled, where will you run, F-word? And one hit me several times with a baseball bat. Then the attackers ran away. The police ran a rather lackluster investigation, and no one was ever arrested. A 2019 poll from the Russian LGBT Network, a Russian queer advocacy group, found 56% of LGBTQ respondents reported experiencing psychological abuse and disturbance disturbing reports have emerged in recent years of the state-sanctioned detention and torture of gay and bisexual men in Chechnya. Just last year, a survey found that nearly 1 in 5 Russians reported wanting to eliminate gay and lesbian people from society. In the country of nearly 146 million people, per the BBC's reporting in May of 2018, only 70,000 people are black. The Guardian wrote, Russia struggles with a reputation for racism, from the abuse of black footballers to violent policing that in recent years has sparked street protests from African students in St. Petersburg. Former Brazilian international Hulk endured monkey chants when he played for Zenit. He was the first black player for the club that they had ever signed.
The issue dominated the launch of FIFA's sustainability strategy on Thursday. While Russian football authorities say they're making every effort to tackle racism, experts say more needs to be done. Then this from another CSKA fan, Olga Kuskova. Recently crowned Miss Charming by the Russian Football Premier League, she was stripped of her title after photos emerged on social media of her apparently posing as a neo-Nazi.
The coach of FC Rostov commented that he had had enough of the things when asked if he was interested in signing a defender from Cameroon. He was referring to black players. The coach, Igor Gomula, also joked that his squad might have Ebola after several footballers fell sick. The BBC reported on Roy Abanga, a 21-year-old Congolese man studying economics at Bryansk State University. In his video published on social media, he gets into a taxi. The driver can be heard saying, "If I don't like a person, I won't give them a ride. It's my car." When Roy asks bluntly, "Are you a racist?" the driver replies, "Yes, of course. That incident with the taxi, it happens a lot," he said. "I just decided to video it this time to show people. It's the same every time." John Stephen Abuman, 39, a Nigerian who works part-time as an English tutor, said he had been attacked 3 times in the 15 years he lived in Russia. He has been stabbed in the arm, suffered a broken wrist, and has a protruding lump on his upper chest, an eye injury, and a dislocated knee that never healed properly. He walks with a limp but can't afford the surgery that doctors recommended. A large welt on his shaved head is the result of being hit with an iron bar, he said. In Russia, when you fight back, you are at fault, Abuman said, as he flashed the small red canister of pepper spray he now carries for protection. "They told me, 'What are you going to do in Russia? You're to blame.' Sometimes law enforcement officials themselves are the antagonists," said Agnes Blaze, a volunteer with the Civic Assistance Committee, which offers legal and humanitarian aid to migrants. "Africans have lots of problems with police," she said. "They are threatened with arrest, and the police often take money on them." In this piece, we have outlined the legislation that has been passed that has basically formed deep-seated hatred towards the LGBTQ plus community. We have also shown how many black residents, whether you are a university student or a professional footballer in the country, feel and what they have endured when it comes to racism. Now, we go back to Brittney Griner.
Griner has spent her winters playing basketball in Russia, where the pay is better, seen here being greeted by fans in 2021. But the warm welcome is now a harsh reality.
Russian authorities said Griner, 31, had cannabis oil in her luggage while in a Moscow airport last month and accused her of smuggling significant amounts of a narcotic substance, which she could serve a prison sentence for 10 years. In a Business Insider article on Griner, where our very own Adrian Lawrence was interviewed about the legality, she put it like this: "It's difficult to know whether Griner had contraband on her or not. Again, this isn't her first rodeo in Russia. She's worked here for some 7 years, so it makes it unlikely that she would break the rules, but we do know mistakes happen. Russia hasn't been the most forthright of nations, and we're currently in a climate where Russia has been manufacturing stories to justify its invasion of Ukraine," she said. "So I really wouldn't put past Russia to manufacture a story about an athlete who's from the US. Our comrade Adrian is spot on. Here's a bit more context. Martin Kochesoko has criticized Russia's laws on the teaching of native languages and has participated in the Democratic Congress of Peoples of Russia. On a fishing trip with a friend, police stopped the car, searched it, and allegedly found narcotics. His friend was released, Martin remains in prison. Oyab Titiev worked for a human rights center in Chechnya. In January 2018, police stopped and searched Titiev's car when he was driving to work. Defense lawyers have documented numerous irregularities in the handling of his case. Authorities have denied attorneys the opportunity to review surveillance videos of his arrest and interrogations. Police say that none of the cameras in the area when he was stopped were working at the time. How convenient. Titiev maintains his innocence and says police planted the drugs. Investigators did not look into his allegations.
Russian incarceration is inhumane, cruel, and deadly, as we've seen before.
TJ Quinn, an investigative journalist for ESPN, noted of Griner, there is a history of Russian security finding drugs in luggage, and Griner's size, sexuality, and color make her an obvious target. Maybe she tried to sneak something out, but for all purposes, she's a POW now, adding, one Russian dissident we interviewed 4 years ago said when he was arrested by the FSB, his wife was on the phone with his lawyer who kept screaming, don't let his suitcase out of your sight. One former Pentagon official told Yahoo Sports there are concerns she could be used as a high-profile hostage. Currently a member of the U.S. House Armed Services Committee said it's going to be very difficult to get Griner out of Russia. Our diplomatic relations with Russia are non-existent at the moment.